Welcome to CCIEORDIE.COM. I'm Artec, and this is more CCIE Lab Builder, specifically DHCP Snooping. And yes, it does work with CCIE Lab Builder, and we're going to prove it, as well as using DHCP. You'll notice we have R1, which is going to be our DHCP server, connected to switch 1, which is connected to our rogue DHCP server, which is going to come into play later, and this router is representing host 1. Also, option 82 I've identified. It's RFC 3046. The information option, option 82, is on by default, and it describes how a gateway IP address through a relay needs to have a non-zero number. And for some reason, it is on by default, and we shouldn't need it in this, or we shouldn't need to turn it off in this particular topology. But we do, and that's just a caveat with CCIE Lab Builder in order to get snooping to work properly. And we'll get to that. So let's first start with R1. Config T. We'll turn on the service DHCP, IP DHCP pool. We'll call it CCIE. The network is going to be 192.168.12.0. The default router -R is 192.168.12.1, our E00 interface, and the domain name will make CCIE. The domain name is not absolutely necessary, but it's really a great idea to put it into practice. We'll end here, and we'll turn on some debugs. Debug IP DHCP server packets, because I like to see the action while it's happening. We see the debug is on, and we'll go to switch 1 and configure it. Config T. VLAN 12. We'll name it Snoop. Why not? Interface range E0/0 to 2. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 12. Great. Coming over to our host. Again, we have the debugs on R1, so we want to keep an eye on that. Config T, interface E0/1 in this case, IP address DHCP, and no shut because I defaulted the interface. End that. And in a second, we should get DHCP delivered to us at the host 1 from R1, and there it is. Show IP DHCP bind 12.2 ping 192.168.12.2, and we'll ping 1 from the other side, ping 192.168.12.1. Excellent, so that works. Config T. We're going to default the interface again. Interface E0/1, and we should lose DHCP, and there we have it. Got released over there on R1, just as we wanted. Excellent. So now we're going to go to our switch and set up DHCP snooping. And here's where option 82 is going to come into play. But let's just configure it as normal. We'll turn it on, IP DHCP snooping and global configuration mode. Then we're going to turn it on for VLAN 12, IP DHCP snooping for VLAN 12. And then we'll have to trust the interface E00 because we have DHCP snooping on. So interface E0/0, IP DHCP snoop trust. Let's exit there. And we'll go back to our host. We still have our debugs on. Interface E0/1, IP address DHCP. No shut, we defaulted it. And that. And we should get errors over here because the relay information option exists, but the gateway address is 0, and that's the problem. But if we turn off the information option on switch 1, no IP DHCP snooping information option, it should come back up. Give it a second. Show IP DHCP bind. Not yet. Let's config T and give it a jolt. Interface E0/1. Actually, oh, there it is. I was being impatient. Show IP DHCP bind. So as you can see, it changed it to 12.3, and with the information option turned off, DHCP snooping will work with CCIE Lab Builder, and that's what we just proved. So let's go back to switch 1 and turn off trust on interface 00, and we'll let our row get into the picture. Interface E0/0. No IP DHCP snoop trust. And let's default our interface at host 1 first. Default interface E0/1. Just so we don't get any tricks, because I pre-configured the DHCP server on the rogue server just to save some time. No IP. Okay, so interface E0/2. We're going to set up IP DHCP snooping trust. Of course, DHCP snooping, once you trust the port, will allow that DHCP server to issue an IP address, and that's exactly what we want. We'll go to the rogue server, config T, make sure the service is turned on, service DHCP. Everything else should be into play. And now if we go back to our, we want to definitely put on debugs, because again, I like to see it happen. IP DHCP server packets. And we know that it's on, so we want to keep an eye on our rogue server. Once we initialize interface E0/2, IP address DHCP. Again, option 82 is still turned off, and I find that that's a necessity. Not such a big deal because you can still snoop. So IP address DHCP, that should still be interface E0/1. IP address DHCP, and no shut. End here, and you can see it's already working. And we go to the rogue and show IP DHCP bind, and there you have it, 12.2, ping 192.168.12.2, and excellent. So DHCP snooping does in fact work with CCIE Lab Builder, and that's great news for practicing layer 2. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.